let's get straight to the point. Not everyone who smiles at you wants what's best for you. Not everyone who listens to you wants to help you. And the most unsettling part, not everyone who approaches you does so out of friendship. There are people who specialize in imitating closeness. They learn your gestures, repeat your words, even mirror your reflection. But they do it with a purpose: to disarm you. And do you know their best strategy? Not to show themselves as enemies. They disguise themselves as allies, as saviors, as those voices that are always there. They make you lower your guard with sweet words, attentive gestures, and a comprehension that seems genuine, but never really was. Betrayal doesn't come with daggers. It comes with hugs, and Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago. The real danger never comes shouting. It enters silently, sits beside you, and waits. Waits for you to open the doors yourself, to tell them your doubts, your mistakes, your weak points. And why do you do it? Because you still believe that bonds are built from emotion, not strategy. Because you confuse closeness with loyalty. Because you still don't understand that power is not lost in an open war, but at a friendly dinner with the wrong people. And this is where the game begins. A subtle, psychological, almost invisible game. Machiavelli understood something most people don't want to accept. The world is not divided between good and bad, but between those who know how to play and those who still believe there is no game. Do you know who is the most manipulative? Not the one who lies, but the one who never has to. The one who leads you exactly where they want, with only half-truths, timely silences, and a perfectly placed smile. We live surrounded by emotional strategists, people who know how to act so that you trust, how to talk so that you open up, how to disappear just when you need them the most, only to come back when you've already healed, and make you feel it was thanks to them. They don't seek to help you. They seek your dependence. They don't seek your well-being. They seek for you to owe them. And you, without realizing it, play their game. You get excited when they value you. You crumble when they walk away. You do more for them than you would ever do for yourself. And what happens when you're no longer useful to them? They drop you without explanation, without guilt. And you're left wondering what you did wrong. Nothing. You did well, but you did it with the wrong people. And now it hurts. Of course it does, because betrayal not only breaks bonds, it also breaks the idea you had of yourself. It makes you feel naive, weak, exposed. But here's the uncomfortable truth. It wasn't betrayal that hurt you the most. It was realizing that you dug the well yourself. You were the one who ignored the signs. You were the one who justified the unjustifiable. You were the one who believed that evil always disguises itself as cruelty. And no, the most dangerous evil smiles, listens, supports, until one day it breaks you. Machiavelli was clear. Don't trust generous acts, watch what comes after. Because the fake doesn't rob you violently, they make you believe you owe them. The traitor doesn't attack you, they make you hand them the weapon. Have you ever wondered how many times you talked too much? How many times you gave access to the most intimate parts of your mind to someone who only wanted it to use against you? How many times you opened the door without even asking for proof of intention? And it's not that you should live in paranoia, it's that you should live with strategy. Machiavelli didn't teach to distrust everyone. He taught to trust with criteria, to observe, to listen more than you speak, to not reveal your emotions to those who have not proven capable of holding them. Because power isn't held by the one who controls, but by the one who doesn't need to control. True power is emotional. And do you know what your weakness is? Believing that being genuine protects you. Believing that opening your heart is always a noble act. Misplaced vulnerability is a ticking time bomb. That's why you need to start seeing beyond words. You must train your ear to detect manipulation behind flattery. You must watch gestures, not just phrases. The fake doesn't always lie, but they're never clear. They speak in double meanings, shield themselves with humor, avoid committing to what they say. They leave you with doubts, and you fill them with hope. That's the trick. The manipulator doesn't need to invent. They just need you to complete their narrative. They throw you crumbs, and you build castles. They offer shadows, and you project light. Result? You cling to an illusion, and you defend that illusion even when the facts have already destroyed it. Meanwhile, they watch. They watch how much you can give, how much you're willing to lose, how much they need to give back so you stay hooked. It's an unequal exchange, but you don't see it because you're blinded by the narrative you built. And here comes the hardest part. They study you more than you study them. They analyze you. They know what to say to trigger you. They know when to disappear to provoke your anxiety. They know when to reappear so you welcome them back. You react. They plan. You feel. They calculate. And Machiavelli made it clear. He who controls his emotions controls others. That's why you must learn to observe without reacting, to listen without responding, to feel without acting. Not so you become cold, but because you need clarity. You can't keep giving your emotions to those who haven't done anything to deserve them. You can't keep justifying those who show, time and again, that they're only here for what they can get. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about friendships, family, even colleagues. There are people who only come close when you have something to offer, and disappear when you need something. Don't get mad at them. Use them as training. Every time someone fails you, you learn. Every time someone manipulates you, you get stronger. But only if you decide not to fall again. Because the greatest betrayal isn't the one that comes from outside. It's the one you allow again and again out of fear of being alone. But being alone is not dangerous. What's dangerous is surrounding yourself with people who make you feel lonely even when you're accompanied. Machiavelli taught you plainly. Don't trust the one who is always available because no one is without reason. Learn to read the intention behind presence. Learn to distrust those who have no limits. The one who never says no, who always agrees with you, who always shows up as the savior. That's the one who represents the greatest danger, because no one is that good without seeking something in return. And if what they seek isn't obvious, worry, because what you don't see is exactly what can destroy you. So start moving with silence, with strategy, with selective coldness. Watch the patterns. The one who always talks about others will talk about you. The one who seeks secrets is looking for weapons. The one who always has a dramatic story to tell is probably the villain, not the victim. Your duty is not to help everyone. Your duty is to protect yourself. And protecting yourself is not about building walls. It's about building filters. It's about testing. It's about trusting not what's said, but what's repeated over time. Trust is not speed. Trust is consistency. And true power lies in knowing when to stay silent. Not everything deserves a response. Not everything deserves an explanation. Your silence can be more terrifying than 1,000 words, because the fake cannot handle mystery. The manipulator needs to know what you're thinking, and if they don't get it, they lose control. So cultivate strategic silence, not out of weakness, but out of mastery. And if someone ever asks you why you no longer trust like before, answer with the most brutal truth, because you learned that the deepest betrayals don't come from the enemy. They come from the supposed friend you chose yourself. And now you know. Now you can decide with whom you share your energy, and with whom you only share distance, because those who don't take care of your trust deserve your forgetfulness. Machiavelli wasn't cruel. He was realistic. And reality, if you know how to use it, can be your best armor. Do it this way, and no one will use you as a pawn again, because now you understand the game, and you have stopped being part of the board. And now that you understand it, that you see the pieces on the board, one question remains. What do you do with all this power you used to give away without measure? Because there's a type of betrayal even more dangerous, one that doesn't come with hurtful words or suspicious silences. It's the betrayal disguised as help. The one that seems like support, but is actually control. The one that comes when you're at your lowest point and offers you a way out. But that way out has a price, your autonomy. They call it advice, but it's manipulation. They call it concern, but it's surveillance. And the worst part, you thank them. Because when you're broken, any kind gesture seems true. Here enters another profile Machiavelli already foresaw, the interested savior, the one who doesn't want to see you well for your sake, but for theirs. Because when you heal, they lose power. When you get stronger, they stop being necessary. And that, they cannot allow. That's why they'll help you, yes, but only up to the exact point where you still depend on them. They'll give you the fish, but never teach you how to fish, because the day you learn, they lose value in your life. That kind of bond is more common than you think, and also more destructive, because it's not based on affection, but on need. And not your need, but theirs. They are people who need you weak to feel strong, who need you confused to feel wise, who need you sad to feel indispensable. And you, believing they're with you out of love, don't see that they're with you out of ego. Do you feel it? Those relationships where everything seems fine, but something doesn't fit. Those bonds where they help you, but you end up more exhausted than before. Those people who save you, but leave you feeling small. That's not help. That's emotional addiction in disguise. And now that you know this, you understand why silence becomes sacred. Why you can no longer tell everything to just anyone. Why emotions shouldn't be shared with those who haven't shown they can hold them without then using them as a bargaining chip. Machiavelli didn't talk about emotional coldness as punishment, but as a shield. It's not about stopping feeling, but about stopping unnecessary exposure. Because every time you emotionally bare yourself before the wrong audience, you give them the keys to your world, and many don't use them to enter, but to loot. And here comes another key point: your reputation. Machiavelli understood something that remains as real today as ever. Perception is more powerful than truth. It doesn't matter who you are. What matters is who they think you are. And the fakes, the traitors, the manipulators, they know this. That's why, when they can no longer control you directly, they'll try to control how others see you. And there begins the invisible war. A silent campaign of whispers, planted doubts, half-truths. They don't attack you head-on. They simply plant a new image of you, one that doesn't correspond to who you are, but little by little sinks into others. And you, trying to defend yourself, make the most common mistake: reacting. You enter the game. You explain yourself. You justify. You raise your voice. And that is exactly what they want. Because when you react, you seem guilty. When you get upset, you seem unstable. When you defend yourself angrily, they present themselves as victims. That's when you must apply the most powerful teaching: emotional control as a survival strategy. It's not about repressing. It's about choosing when and how to show. Because whoever makes you lose your temper dominates you. and whoever gets you to defend yourself accuses you without saying a word. Silence in this kind of battle is not absence, it's invisible attack. It's a response that screams louder than 1,000 arguments. Machiavelli would have said, "Don't fight on foreign ground. Change the board or change the game." And in this case, the board is public opinion, and the game is the narrative. Who tells your story? Who speaks for you when you're not there? Who manipulates the image others have of you? That's why you must guard your personal narrative as if it were a shield. Don't over-explain. Don't justify anything. Let your actions be your defense and your silence your sentence. Because there's something the fakes and manipulators cannot stand: the void. Silence confounds them. Lack of reaction disarms them. And that's where you take control. But let's go even further. Let's talk about loneliness. That word that scares many, but, nevertheless, is the foundation of your strength. Most people who fall into webs of falsehood do so out of fear of being alone. They prefer dubious company to honest introspection. They prefer noise to silence. They prefer to feel they belong, even if it's to an environment that consumes them. And that need is the perfect hook for the manipulator, because they don't need to force you. They just need to offer you a place where you finally feel accepted. But that place is not refuge. It's a cage with windows. Machiavelli didn't talk about being antisocial. He talked about being self-sufficient. That true security doesn't come from the group, but from oneself. And this is where you have to do the most brutal work. Reconcile with your own company. Accept that loneliness doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. Because only in silence can you detect false echoes. Only in the void can you distinguish what is real from what is necessary. Loneliness is not punishment. It's a filter. And if you're not capable of spending time with yourself without needing constant validation, you'll be an easy prey for whoever offers it, with hidden interests. So to recap, the fakes disguise themselves as support. The traitors hide in generosity. The manipulators feed off your need to be loved. And you, if you're not careful, give them the power. But now you know this. Not everyone who leaves loses you. Some set you free. And not everyone who praises you values you. Some only sharpen the trap. So sharpen your perception. Harden your criteria. Don't seek to please. Seek clarity. And above all, remember this. Silence is your best ally when noise comes disguised as affection. The strongest strategy is not to shout louder. It's knowing when not to say anything. Because the one who masters the game of invisibility, who appears only when they decide, who leaves without explanations, and who returns wiser, colder, and stronger, that's the one who ends up controlling the game. And you are about to become that player. And now that you have all the pieces, I throw you the last bomb. Not everyone who wants to see you win wants you to win more than they do. That's the slipperiest terrain of all. That of those who are neither obvious fakes, nor declared traitors, nor classic manipulators. They are the ones who rejoice in your small achievements. As long as you don't surpass theirs. They applaud you as long as you don't represent a threat. They support you while you're a step behind. But the moment you dare to shine brighter, their silent war begins. Competition disguised as friendship. Support that comes with chains. The congratulations with a hidden sting. And here is where you must be most lethally aware. Don't confuse affinity with alignment. Not everyone who walks by your side is going in the same direction, and not everyone who gives you their hand wants to see you standing. Some only do it to make sure you don't fly. And how do you spot them? Listen to their silences when you succeed. Look into their eyes when you talk about your goals. Feel their energy when you're on top. Because a true ally resonates with you without reservation. The one who gets uncomfortable with your expansion has already shown themselves. And the most painful part, Often they are the closest ones. But that's the moment you must remember what's essential. Your greatest loyalty must be to yourself. You're not here to fit in, you're here to awaken. Because in a world full of masks, true luxury is not needing a disguise. And that luxury is paid for with pain, with selective solitude, with uncomfortable silences. But above all, with freedom. The freedom to choose your battles, your bonds, your words, the freedom to disappear when it's time and return when you decide. The freedom to be unreachable for those who haven't proven they deserve you. And here's the brutal closing. The fake, the manipulator, the traitor, they don't fear you for what you have. They fear you for what you could become when you no longer need them. That is your power, and they didn't see it coming. Now, if you've made it this far, I throw you a challenge. Leave me a phrase in the comments that sums it all up. I no longer play on their board. That way I'll know you didn't just listen, but you've already started to move differently. And if this video stirred something inside you, subscribe. Not to inflate numbers. Do it for yourself. Because here you'll find what no one else dares to tell you. See you in the next one, if you haven't already gone to break your own board and create your own. Until then, remember, he who is silent doesn't always concede. Sometimes he calculates, and you just learned how to calculate. See you in the shadows, or better yet, at the top.